there's a story, and it's one of my stories that I just started actually like telling this story, because hearing this story come out of me, I started to realize, and this is just, I'm gonna be transparent with you. This is just with me practicing being who I am. And I realized that like how I can practice being who I am is just to start expressing these things that I think about concerning my past and my lived experiences and my trauma out loud. And so I started expressing this story, and it's the one of, one of the last times I seen my father, actually the last time I seen my father before, he left. And, no digs to my father. I'm definitely not trying to like, me and my dad are we have a great relationship today. And I just believe that it has the capacity to just get even greater. But, this is my reality. This is what I have stuck in me and is a part of me. My mother, myself, my sister, we were at who I would consider a play auntie, my mom's play sister, but my mom's an adult now, so the play is over. And my mom and Auntie Felicia, they do adult things now, you know what I'm saying? And it may not have been the healthiest, but it's, it was just a part of their bond and how they related. But every time my mom went over to Auntie Felicia's to do what they did, me and my sister were brought along. And Auntie Felicia had 2 twin boys and an older son named Floyd. And, throughout the times that I would spend, significant amounts of time over at Auntie Felicia's, I began to, to develop a relationship with Floyd and the 2 twins. And so while over here and in the relationship that me and Floyd and the 2 twins and my sister had developed, just being kids and just doing what we do as kids, it's just a regular day. And I'm anticipating and expecting to be over here at Auntie Felicia's house in the midst of this regular day situation and these circumstances for the day and for the evening potentially, depending on how long, Auntie Felicia and Moms, did what they do with their friends. And I'll never forget, my mom was outside of the house, outside of this particular apartment for an unusual amount of time. And I'm like, man, my mom, she's still outside. And my mom, I'm looking, kind of peeking out the window, something that we were encouraged not to do. And I noticed that my mom and my dad were outside talking. And I noticed my dad's disposition was different than I had ever seen before. Now, I've seen him and my mom have encounters before, me being the oldest of the 2, me and my sister. And I can think back and express on some, some tremors of circumstances that would lead to potential like trauma, like, just seeing, the trepidation in their communication at times, previous to this one. But this one was different. Like, I could see that something was wrong. Now, I'm starting to get to an age, I'm 8, so I'm starting to step into this age where my feelings, now think about this, like my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, my actions, they're starting to transition, into like feelings, thoughts, actions, and that affect me. And it's very apparent that what I see out of my eyes, from my vantage point, what I see going on with my mom and my dad, it stirred something in me that made me feel uncomfortable. And it's like, I think this is probably when I can really think back and think like, this is when I probably first experienced my intuition. You know, like the intuitive part of me was like, something's wrong, like, and it was clear, it like meant like it was just revelation, like, and I didn't know it at that time, but I just like, when I think back, I knew something was wrong, so I didn't leave out of the window. And then my mom, she started walking back toward the door, so I, turned around, hopped out the window, sat on the couch like I was minding my business, and your dad want to talk to you. So I, and honestly, I don't even know if she said your dad wants to talk to you. I just know, I think I was wanting to go out there anyway, and she was just like, your dad is out there, go talk to him or something. Anyway, I went out there, and I'll never forget, man, like, I looked at my dad, and he just had this look in his eyes, and he was looking at me, and he asked me, like, as I got closer, he asked me in a way that made me like stop, because it was ultimately like his words were telling me, stop right there. Like, don't come no closer. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, I'm going to the store. And I'm like, where are you going, Daddy? Where are you going? Going to the store. Usually I go to the store with my dad. So it was like, his response was like, I'm going to the store, but something was just empty, like, and void of that statement. And it just didn't seem, now that I look back, and it didn't seem true. It just really didn't seem like he was going to the store. Especially because usually I go with him. So I'm like, he like, tell me what you want, I'll bring it back. And honestly, my memory probably isn't serving me as vividly as I would like. He probably didn't even say the words, tell me what you want and I'll be right back. But that's ultimately what he communicated. And so at the time, whatchamacallit had become my favorite, chocolate. And I think I may have told him, like, whatchamacallit. But I was like, man, like, I wanted to go with him, and I was confused in a way that I don't think I had ever experienced before this moment. Like, I was confused. The first time ever I seen my mom and dad in a situation like that. The first time ever my dad communicated stop without telling me to stop. And then it's the first time ever my dad is like, no, you're not going with me, I'll be back. And this is the first time ever I felt like he wasn't coming back. He wasn't coming back. He wasn't coming back. He wasn't coming back. It just echoed. But I didn't want to believe that, of course. My dad left and he never came back. I never seen him that day again. And I may have seen him periodically in between then for a very short amount of time. I was talking with him the other day, and he had mentioned, like, he came back in '89. And him and my mom they just couldn't see eye to eye, and so he left for good. But I don't know if I remember that. I just know that once he left that day, after experiencing those first, like, revelations of, like, what those moments introduced to me about myself, about my dad, about my mom, about my family, that would never, ever, ever be restored to the same degree that they were before those moments happened, everything else is a blur. And I truly believe, I share this to say, I truly believe that's when, fear and I were first really, like, introduced, like the real fear. Like running from a dog because I was afraid, or, me getting in trouble so my grandpa would whoop my butt, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, my dad probably disciplined him, like those types of things. Yeah, you're kind of afraid of the authority, and so you kind of mind it. But this was a different type of, this was like the type of fear that will lead you to making compromised decisions ultimately for the rest of your life if it's never challenged. And so today, as I stand before you at 41 years old, in transparency, I'm still dealing with that type of fear. I ran outside looking for my dad every day from that moment on in ways that have disrupted, distracted, and deconstructed my neighborhood in ways I would never really probably ever fully be able to repair. But I have an understanding today of how to unify myself with a thought life and with the belief system that's all the more powerful enough to counter the concept of me not being able to repair what I've damaged. Fear no longer controls my thought life. It no longer controls my decision making. It no longer controls my belief system. It no longer controls my ability to operate in who God has called me to operate as. But as I say that, please understand and believe that I still battle against fear every day. And sometimes, moment by moment by moment by moment, fear comes against me and tries to get me to arrest myself. And yes, I said it, arrest myself. Because fear can't necessarily arrest you. Nah. You choose to arrest yourself as a result of being fearful. Only you can choose that. And so, with all of that said, identify those things that bond you to fear and start speaking those things out loud. Just speak them out loud wherever you're at. Just speak them out loud. Write them down and speak them out loud. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that very story that is a part of you and that makes you up. And just share it and share it and share it with yourself until you become so familiar with it that you realize the very identity of it. And you'll better be able to deal with it. You'll better be able to steward your time that has been dictated by fear, your decisions that have been dictated by fear, your relationships that have been dictated by fear. I can't promise you that it'll happen sooner than later, but I will promise you that you will become familiar with fear in a way that you had never before. Just think about all of the things that somehow challenge and just like put themselves up against you that cause you to entertain some level of fear that you never speak out and that you keep in, because either one, you don't want no one to know that you fear anything, or two, you kind of live in the denial that sometimes this world will have you walk in or distract you into believing. That fear is false evidence appearing real. I'm not going to sit here and say that acronym, there isn't some truth to it, but to walk around in denial like there really is no such thing as fear, or that fear is false, if there's anything false about fear, the objective truth about fear is that it is fear. It is what it is. How you respond to it is all subjective to you. How it dictates and determines how you live, how you speak, how you breathe, how you rest is all subjective to you. The results of it and the effects of it are, again, objective. Like fear has an effect on you. That's how you know that it's a real thing. But the more you begin to speak these fears out loud, the more you begin to look these fears in the face, and the more you begin to identify fear for who it is and what it is, the freer you'll become.